Welcome to Above the Brain podcast, where we open up your mind to the one that's divine, help you discover self so you can turn self into wealth. We're going into our mindset series over leadership, and we've been really unpacking the different qualities of leadership. And today we're going to be discussing understanding millennial leadership. I'll say that again. We're going to unpack discovering understanding millennial leadership. Now, there's a lot of pointers I want to come from with this, but on the basics, we're going to discover what does it mean to be a millennial? How do millennials identify leadership? And what does millennial leadership look like? So, we're going to dive right into it. What is millennial leadership? I defined it as the generation of millennials and their influence on society as of today. And so the millennial age group is noted to be from about 1979 to about 1992 or what have you. You know, those that are about 28, 29 to about 40, 42 years old. That's the age group that we're looking on. And that's the prime age for individuals in this time. You know, whenever it comes to fulfillment in life, a lot of times people set their goals, their targets, are in this swing of things, are in that mode, in that age gap. When you hit your 30s, that's like, you're officially an adult. You're making decisions. You're planning out your life. As you age out from the 30s to the 40s, that's when you're really locked in. Most people are in their full careers or full businesses or whatever it is that you're doing, have an established family by that time, things of that nature when they get to the late 30s, early 40s on average. And so those are the ones that are kind of leading the charge now. And so that millennial generation is what I'll call leading the charge. The generation before us are kind of phasing out. They're retiring. They're passing the torch. And so we have to understand what millennial leadership looks like. And so most of that generation was born, I'll say right at the end. Sorry, phone call came in. Right at the end of that, I'll call it the do it because I told you so generation, and right before the I don't want to do anything at all generation. And I can get a lot of scrutiny and questions for that, but that's just my point because I'm like right in the middle of the millennial generation. And so we ask a lot of questions, I believe, and we're kind of the show me generation. Don't just tell me what to do, show me how to do it. Don't just I don't owe you anything kind of mentality. I get it on my own if I want to get it done. And so a lot of people feel this younger generation feel younger than us, feel entitled to things, feel like things should come to them automatically. And so it's up to the millennial generation that are kind of above them, that are stepping into leadership roles, whether it be in business, industries, even ministries, because I talk a lot about Jesus on this podcast, or even family dynamics, governments, things of that nature. They are looking for someone that can connect with them, but millennials, I feel, a lot have not really grasped the necessity of understanding what it means to be a quality leader. Most have, depending on what field. Just like the TikTok generation, a lot of those that are making thousands upon thousands of dollars are, in that, teenage, 20-year-old age range. Now, are they great leaders? I don't know. They have a great following, but that does not necessarily make you a great leader, because then what are you leading people to do? When people look at your channel, when people look at your Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, what impact are you leaving for people? Leadership is really an everyday aspect, because you are presenting an image of oneself to the world, and people either like you for it or dislike you for it. They will either follow you or, be against whatever it is that you're doing. And if you're very, very good at what you do, people will start to try to imitate you the same way I try to imitate my life after Christ. And so when it comes to effective leadership, So when it comes to effective leadership, we have to understand that the millennials also think differently than most other generations. Most people that are in their later 40s, 50s and beyond, they grew up in that this is how it is because this is how it's always been kind of mentality. They grew up in the, as some people would say, do what I say, not what I do, era. The I do it because I told you to, I don't have to explain myself kind of era. And then the ones that are coming after us, that Generation Z or even the younger, I think they call them Generation Alpha, those new babies, the really young ones. They're kind of in that entitled, overly free thinking era. Everything is given to me. I don't have to work for nothing. I deserve all of this. Where the millennials are kind of like in the middle. We ask a lot of questions. We're kind of that show me generation. Don't just tell me what to do. Show me how it's done, because I probably can do it better than you. Or if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. So that's kind of the mentality that we're in now. And so I'll use the example of the workplace as an example. When I was first started working, my managers are always about numbers, getting the numbers done, getting the job done, doing whatever the job role required, but really didn't care about people. Employees would get together, spend time out of work, but there was really no connection with the managers, as opposed to now, when they started to see the great drop in people quitting, people leaving jobs for their own mental health, because mental health awareness is big and on the rise right now. They started to realize something is wrong here. Why are so many people quitting? Why are so many people leaving? And they found somewhere in like the 70 percentile that majority of the people that leave jobs is because of poor management, poor leadership. And that's the generation that came before us. They were about just getting the work done. This is how it's done. And at the end of the day, we clock out. They were not about building people. And now people want to connect. And especially now more than ever do people want to connect. And that's why you see a burst of diversity and inclusion in several workplaces, because people want to connect. They want to feel a part of something. They want to be recognized for their differences in the workplace. And so that's where we are with millennial leadership. They are more interested in those that are around them. They're more connected to those that they're influencing. Where one way could be you teach somebody something and that's it. Now people are getting more personal in the development process, connecting with people. They call it the transformational process. And go back and listen to my podcast on transformational leadership. It really dives into that concept and really opens up the ideals of that when it comes to being transformative and impacting and influencing other individuals. Now, for millennial leadership, it's good to have that transformation approach to others, because you don't want to just be a leader. You want to create other leaders. And a lot of people now in this day and age, they want to associate with people just like them. They love people love gravitating to people who think the same way they do, who act the same way they do, who believe the same way they believe. And so that's very huge when it comes to leadership, knowing your audience. Even with leading, let's say, a business. Let's stay on that for an example. You might have different beliefs than those that work under you if you're a manager or a leader or in a leadership position. However, by knowing that individual on a personal level, you can work together and find common ground when it comes to developing one in particular areas. People want to elevate, people want to move forward, people want to progress. And so if they feel like you're the reason why they're not progressing, then that will cause friction in that relationship with that person. You want to be the reason why somebody overcomes and excels and exceeds. You don't want to be the reason why somebody fails, why somebody can't overcome, why somebody can't do. They don't want to look back and say, this was the individual that said this to me, that did this to me, which is why I'm not successful. You want to be the one that said, because of this person, they were a great manager, they was a great leader, they were a great pastor, they was a great this, that. They were the one that inspired me to do more with my life. and now I'm doing more in my life because of this person. That's the reputation you want to have, and that's what's happening in this millennial arena, where some people like it, some people don't like it, but you're starting to see a change in the work area where numbers are going down, but people are finding more quality employees, people that are willing to stick around, people that are willing to work with a team because people are enjoying the teams that they're working with. They're enjoying the managers that they're looking for. Now, that's not as clear across the board, but that is the direction that we're heading in. And so when you understand how millennials are, how they think, not everyone thinks the same way. And once you understand that concept, you can be a more effective leader, especially for millennials, or if you're millennial, especially to those around you. Knowing the generations that came before you, honoring and respecting them, and knowing what you have to deal with the generations that are coming after you. They've experienced different things. They see things a different way. They understand things differently. So being able to connect with them on that personal level and engage with them in a way that they understand is going to be essential for you to develop others in this millennial leadership era that we're in. The torch is being passed to that millennial generation. And so you even hear it a lot in the churches where they say we got to get the young people back. Well, the young people are here. You just don't have that connection. And so what are millennials doing? They're connecting with people that are connecting with them. You see some churches that have a big following of all age gaps because great leadership, great connection. Churches that are filled with like a lot of young people don't have a lot of older people. There's a disconnect there. Or the churches that have a lot of older people and not a lot of younger people, there's a disconnect there. And there's a reason why for that. Because people aren't willing to change and know what's happening in this current era, knowing their audience, knowing who they're presenting themselves to. If you want to be a quality leader, you have to know who you're engaged with. So that's kind of the mindset that I find in most millennials as of today, and most people just in general. Being that there's more awareness on mental health, people do not want to be around any kind of environment that is bad for them, that is bad for their mindset, that is bad for their personal development, things of that nature. And so moving forward, how do we understand millennials? We first have to not assume that they are a certain way. They get categorized so easily. And anyone that is like under, born after the 70s, most of the older generation counts them all as millennials. Even these new ones coming in that are teens now, they count them as millennials. And those are not millennials. That's what generation Z, Generation Z or Generation Alpha that is being birthed now. And so you have these different generations that are in development and coming forth. And so one thing you have to know is identify who exactly are the millennials, their age range, and their habits. Those are the ones that are more voice for us. And so a great leader, one thing I've talked about multiple times, is being a great listener. And so now this generation, I feel, is more expressive and more vocal about their thoughts and opinions on things. So it's key to be an effective leader when it comes to millennials is to listen. Thank you for joining me today on Above the Brain podcast, where we inspire you, encourage you, and show you how to be a better individual for the world today. Thank you guys, and take care.